Hello everyone, this is the video lecture for pre-calculus. We'll be doing 6.1 today, trig expressions. So, all of chapter 6 is very different than what we've done before. They're basically trig identities. We're proving this expression is that trig expression, and so we're going to be manipulating things, and it's just going to be a wild ride. The very first question that we have is a GeoGebra question. So I'll just put, I don't know, Geo number 1. So that sounds good enough, I guess, for now. So here we go. Tangent, let's make sure we get it right. Tangent of x plus cotangent of x, all divided by cosecant of x is equal to something. And it says rewrite using only cosine. So rewrite only using, that's a terrible using cosine of x. Okay, so what we need to do is just keep on simplifying, essentially. There's not really any particular steps that they're requiring here for the GeoGebra one, but later when we go back to the MyMathLab questions, it's going to be I guess more hand-holdy, very straightforward. You'll see what I mean. Right here, right now, we're just doing it, okay? So this is what I'm going to do. I want to simplify this. I want to basically kind of cancel anything I can, and a great first step is to just change everything into sines and cosines. And so my tangent here is a sine over cosine. And then my cotangent is cosine over sine. And then all divided by cosecant is 1 over sine. Okay, so I changed everything into sines and cosines. Now, just between you and me, whenever we're writing all this stuff here, you really don't need to keep putting an x after each one of these. It would be okay to put sine over cosine, cosine over sine, 1 over sine, and just have no x's. All these x's with parentheses actually just kind of make it more laborious when you could just write out whatever. But I'm trying to be a good teacher and do the right thing right now. It will be important later, I guess, but not significantly here. Okay, so I want to start simplifying this thing, and I want it like a common denominator and all that kind of stuff, but first let's get rid of this fraction over fraction stuff. So I'm going to flip this into the numerator so that we have sine over cosine. Yep, I'm doing it. I don't have this on my notes, but there's just so many steps that are coming here in just a second that just doing this once in a while is okay. Don't do it every time, but, you know, once in a while. I'm proving a point, I guess. Anyways, so I flipped it into the numerator. Now notice that I have just a plain old sign right now. Well, like you don't need to divide by 1. I'm going to go ahead and distribute that. And remember, when I distribute, it's actually going to the numerator. So this is a sine squared over cosine. And then here we got a cosine times sine all over sine. And these guys cancel, so that's nice. Sine squared over cosine plus cosine. Now remember that I'm supposed to simplify it down and just have just cosines. So I need to change this sine squared into something. And there's a formula for that. I could say it's 1 minus cosine squared, Pythagorean identity. All of these, I guess, formulas that we're using are on the unit circle page, but on the back side of it. Anyways, so this is actually your answer, kinda. It's not exactly complete right now. So what we need to do is we need to, I don't know, simplify it down some more. Like, this is still okay, but we need to go further. What I really need is a common denominator for both of them. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to multiply over here by cosine over cosine. And I'm doing this so that we can have a common denominator, but these guys are going to mush together in the numerator. And so I got 1 minus cosine squared, and then plus cosine squared, all over a common denominator of cosine. I already mushed them all together, by the way. Well, these guys cancel. So I got 1 over cosine of x, right? And this is actually the most simplified. That's what they want. I have on my notes, stop here. But we all know that this is actually a secant of x, which, later on my math lab's going to want this kind of thing. But this is good. This is great. This is what you type in there, and you're done. Okay, so the point here with what we're doing is we're just simplifying. We want to go from one side to the other. And here they just said simplify, get it down to the most basic thing. But a lot of times going forward, they're going to have a target, a goal that we need to make. And so let's jump into this. This is now the My Math Lab side of things. That's supposed to be a 3. And so I've now got secant of negative x times the sine of x is equal to tangent of x. Okay. Now, they're saying that this is a true statement. What they're wanting from us is to prove it. And they want us to prove this by simplifying this side down to get to the tangent, okay? Now, you could technically start with a simple side and go to the more complicated, but it's very unconventional. Almost always we start with the most complicated side, and My Math Lab will force you into that. So what we're going to do is follow the My Math Lab steps like exactly. I'm going to go step by step, exactly what they want, okay? So here we go. They have, and I mean, this is going to be tough with all these letters and stuff. I really want to just I just want to really write out the most simplified things, but I'm going to try to be good here, okay? So they have this, and then they have a box, and then they say times sine x. And then they have another box. What goes in here is going to be the simplified version of this one. Now, this secant with the negative here, this is actually an even function. And what you can do is just say, well, the minus just disappears. And so what we're going to put in this box is a plain secant x, okay? Now, they want to tell you, or you want to tell them, what step that you used. And here you're going to say even odd identity or something like that. And I'm going to shorthand these because there's a lots of words here. Just click the one that says even odd, okay? So there we go. Next step in My Math Lab, again now it has a box, and then it has a sign. And then it has another box. And it says, well, what do you do now? Well, what I want to do is I want to convert this over to 1 over cosine x. Whew, I'm trying. It's just the handwriting is so tiny, and my cursor is just not the greatest with this tablet, but that's okay. And so what do we do here? So we need to now say in terms of sine and cosine. So terms of sine and cosine, okay? So we converted our secant into 1 over cosine. Now, they just say it's equal to tangent. And then they will have a box. And you have to fill in this box too. It says apply quotient identity. So just quotient identity, something like that. What's going on here is that you have a sine in the top and a cosine in the bottom. These guys right here make the tangent, by the way. Okay, done. So that's your first My Math Lab question. Let's analyze. Let's just go back and understand some of this stuff. Because essentially what I'm doing for you right here is not thinking. I'm just giving you the answers. And so what they wanted is that they wanted this to be simplified down to a little bit, and then simplify down even a little bit more, and then finally combine like terms, make it into something, da-da-da-da-da. Are there other ways to get this problem done? Yes. Are there other ways that My Math Lab will let you get it done? No. What I recommend, and I might be a bad teacher for this, but I don't care. What I recommend is for you to go through these and get them wrong, see what they have, see their process, go back and do it your way. Now, well, their way, I guess. Do it again with your, input, but the way they want it. And so, as a teacher, having to have you do these identities this one way is very frustrating. I really don't like it. I really would rather you freehand it, but my math lab does not understand that because it's a computer, and computers are stupid. So we're going to do the best we can. We're going to get through this, and I'm just going to continue to show you how this works with the MyMathLab side of things. And also, I'm going to show you how to do this like in reality, okay? Like going forward in your life, what should you be doing? I will show you a lot more of that as well. Okay, so here's another problem. We got, maybe I just need to write larger. I don't really know. Okay, secant minus cosine is equal to tangent times sine. Now, they are forcing you into doing this and going over here, okay? So let's go through the MyMathLab version. They have a box, and then minus cosine, and they say box. Like, what did you do? Well, secant is 1 over cosine. I guess I can definitely simplify that guy. So reciprocal. I'm trying to spell it right. Oh my gosh, that's so terrible. I can barely read that. Okay, hold on. No. We're gonna keep this. Make sure to write a theta every time, or my math lab will just completely yell at you because it's totally different than x. Anyways, so reciprocal. Basically, secant is 1 over cosine. We knew that, but now I have to tell it like a step, like give it a name or something like that. And now they just have one big box. And so what I'm wanting to do here is get a common denominator, and they do about 2 steps, and they think they're funny. This is what they have. They think they're hilarious. What happened is that, and I'm just giving you the behind the scenes thing here, they're doing cosine over cosine, kind of like we did earlier, and they're saying, oh, well, that's cosine squared, and then common denominator and stuff like that. But they don't want you to actually put common denominator here. No, they say, oh, no, never mind. Yeah, they do. I just couldn't read my handwriting. Yeah, they do want you to put common denominator. Okay, cool. Okay, common denominator. Okay, awesome. And then they have just another box. How mysterious. What should I be doing now? Well, the top here is actually a sine squared of theta. And then we have a cosine down here. And this is the Pythagorean identity. So click the Pythagorean, blah, 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 blah. And then they say, aha, you made it to the end. That's tangent times sine. And you're like, what? How did that just happen? But we have to tell it how, somehow. So rewrite product. That's what they say. Like, that's their answer. Rewrite the product. Sweet. That's exactly what I did to get there. Thank you, MyMathLab. No. So what's going on here is that there is a sine over a cosine, and then there's another sine. Notice that this sine squared, they're splitting up into 2 separate pieces. So this is right here is your tangent, and then we have a plain old sine. So they're just splitting it up like that. I guess you could put a 1 right there. I don't know. It's whatever. Yay! Thank you, MyMathLab, for holding my hand the entire time. I feel so loved. So in my notes, I was fed up, and I kind of am. It's sad that we can't actually just do what we need to do here. But I read my notes, and it says, okay, all capitals. Now I'm going to do my own thing, then go back to MyMathLab to verify. And indeed I will. So going forward, it is not healthy for me or you to simply just mimic what MyMathLab wants. Your future in math is not going to be this way. This is simply just MyMathLab being a computer, and it's limited, and somehow it's supposed to be okay. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to do it for reals. And then after we do it for reals, then I'm going to go back to MyMathLab and just, I guess, make sure that I'm doing it, or like I can answer what they want. So right now what I'm going to do is my own method, and then I'm going to go back and just see what MyMathLab has, okay? My method might not be what MyMathLab has. It might be, I might have more steps, I might have less steps. I don't know. Lots of different things. So I'm just going to do this freehand with you. And then again, we go back to my math lab in a minute. Okay. So like, I guess you could say this is mine. This is mine. Okay. Well, all right. So breathe easy because now we can finally do some stuff here. There's a lot of stuff on this side, and we're trying to get it to tangent, which is actually pretty simple. So I do want to go this way. That's also how my math lab does it, but I'll update you on that later, okay? I'm just going to do my own thing. My idea is to change this cosecant into 1 over sine. I'll put the theta once in a while, I guess. And then I have a plain old sine. And then I have a cotangent in the bottom. Okay. Couldn't just use x. Okay, so that's good. Well, notice that this is like sine over 1, and that's 1 over sine, and yeah, they cancel actually. So you have 1 over cotangent. Well, I know that this formula for tangent, like tangent, you flip it to make a cotangent. Well, cotangent, you flip it to make a tangent. And there we go. We just did it. Yay! Like, verified. That was really easy. Really easy. And that's good. On my notes, I did something else. Like, I just did it here with you just the way I wanted to. My notes have something else. Let's see what my math lab has. Okay? So I'm turning my page, and I wrote down the my math lab steps. So this is my math lab now. And let's see if I can maybe make this thing happen. So they start with your cosecant theta, sine theta, all over cotangent theta. And they say it's equal to cosecant theta, and then a box, and then a cotangent theta. And then again, another box. Now, this is the most odd thing ever. Like, why would you want to do this, my math lab? I don't know. I think someone royally messed up on the programming side of things. This is bonkers, bro. So they want this sine to be flipped to be 1 over cosecant. And they say, oh, we use the reciprocal identity and all that stuff. Well, good job. I did this one. I went cosecant to 1 over sine, which honestly makes so much more sense. So why is my math lab forcing you to do this? I don't know. I think that's just weird. But you know, it's okay. We're going to get through this together. So then they have a box, and then they say 1 over cotangent. And again, they have another box. We have to fill it in. So basically here they have a 1. What's happening is that these guys cancel, of course, just like what we had. So it's got a 1, and you're going to click the divide out, whatever button that is. I don't know. It's all multiple choice, of course. And then they say, you made it to a tangent. Good job. Why? And then you're going to say reciprocal, because that is what we did. We did the 1 over flippy thing to make that into a tangent. Okay, so was my steps pretty close? Yeah, pretty close. Were my steps exactly the same? Nope. And that is okay. You get different steps, I get different steps, my math lab gets different steps. We all meet in the middle, and that's good enough. So now we're going to use T's, because that is totally, totally better. T for totally. I got to say that this one actually is confusing about which way to start. I have this thing that I want to get rid of fractions, and I get that. We're going to get rid of this fraction first, trying to get over here. But this is still pretty complicated, honestly. Okay, so mine. I'm going to do it my way, and then we're going to go back and do it their way. So I have this cotangent over cosecant. I'm going to change everything in the sine and cosine. So my cotangent is cosine over sine, and that's still all squared, like each of them is squared. Okay. And then divided by 1 over sine. I'm going to then flip this to the numerator. So I got, and I'm just going to start splitting things up. So I got cosine squared, sine squared, and I got, when I flip it, I'll get a sine over 1. Well, what happens now is I cancel one of these signs right here. So now what I have is a cosine squared in the top, and I have one sine in the bottom. Okay. Now, this is a good time to pause. I'm looking to get to this guy here. And what I think that we're going to have to do is convert this into sines. And so I'm going to convert this cosine squared into 1 minus sine squared with the Pythagorean identity stuff. And I'm doing this only because, like, look, there's a minus sign right there, right? And notice that I have a sign right here. What's going to happen is that when I split up my common denominator thing, distribute denominator, something like that, here we're going to get that cosecant, and then here one of the signs is going to cancel. So cosecant minus sine, and there we go, we got it. All right. Did you notice that I didn't use any t's? Because this is mine. I can do whatever I want. And the same goes for you. You can do whatever you want. As long as you're understanding it and you're doing your steps right, I don't care what you write down. Okay. So what does my math lab have? And so let's go through this. They got the cotangent t, cosecant of t, and then they say it's equal to, and then they have a big old box at the top, and they say divided by cosecant of t, and they have another box. I know, this is going to be just wild. You're going to be, what is going on? Your answer here is cosecant squared of t and then minus 1. They said, oh, use the Pythagorean, blah, blah, blah. Well, good job. We did that earlier, right? We did that from right here to right here. That was Pythagorean, right? But that was not my first step. So where did this come from? It is one of those formulas, but it's not in that format. They rearranged it. So if you look at it long enough on that formula page, you'll eventually see it. But that is not my first choice, okay? That is not my first choice. But you know what? I don't get to make a choice. So then it has, actually, hold up. It has a really big box. And then it has another box, and it says, do not simplify. I love when they say do not simplify. Not because it's like, oh, well, it's easier work. No, because now I don't know what you want. Because I'm always used to just simplifying. Okay, so here we go. I've got cosecant squared of t all over cosecant of t, and then minus 1 over cosecant of t. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking too. So we're splitting it all up, and so they say separate. When can I do math again? This is math. Anyways, so now they don't have any rules. They just, I guess they mean now you can simplify. So I can cancel those guys out and make a regular cosecant here, which totally is what I wanted. But don't simplify this guy. No way. Why would I want to simplify that one? So divide out. Okay. Divide out. That's what they want. And then finally, cosecant of t minus sine of t. Yay, we made it. What did I do? I used the reciprocal again. This is like so painful. So it's okay. So look, did we get it? Sure. Did I get it this way? No. I did eventually have to use the Pythagorean, but they used it first. I used it in the middle. I still like my way, honestly, because this Pythagorean is not, it's not an easy one. It's not one that I just know. I have to actually go look that one up. But the Pythagorean I used with the sines and cosines, that one you pretty much can know like instantly. It's super easy in comparison. So, yep, that's how it is. This is my math lab. Okay. Plus cosecant. I'm just not even saying it. I'm just writing it. Okay. Let's start with mine. So mine. I'm going to start with this side. I want to split up my denominator. So I have a cosine over a sine. And again, because it's mine, I can do whatever I want, right? So I don't have to write the theta every single time. Um, okay, so I split up my denominator. Well, it looks like this guy here is a cotangent, honestly. And it looks like that guy's a cosecant, honestly. Oops. There we go. We're done. Yay. Like, that's not a box. I shouldn't box. I should just say, yay. Come on, everybody. Here we go. Yay. Yeah, I'll go back and put some thetas. There we go. Now it's totally official. 2 steps. 2 steps. What does my math lab want? What deviousness have they planned for us here? So they have one big box, and then they have another one right here. So their answer, again, I'm cheating like nearly all the time by just like, getting it wrong, looking at what they have, and I'm like reciting it back. Because that's just what it takes sometimes. I can guess separate. I don't know. I can't spell, but you get the idea. Separate. Okay, great. So we just split up our denominator. Cool. And then they say, oh, look, that's cotangent plus cosecant. Woohoo. Wow. That, you know what? This looks oddly familiar. Now, this one's a longer one. This is the reciprocal and quotient. So you have to click the one that has both of them on there for this to be right. Because it's my math lab. Of course. Okay. Did we actually do what my math lab said here? Yeah, actually my steps were the same as their steps. So that's kind of nice. I guess it happens once in a while. Okay. So I want to do the next one, but I have to pause for just a second.